Hey guys, hope you guys have been enjoying every episode that's been out, and I'm going to start this off with something that was on my mind. It's still on it's on my mind right now, so I want to be sure to put this out there. It came up during a Facebook post of some pictures from, I think, the Thornberry Court or the Abastar Line episode where I moved to Whitehall and decided to start a rock band again. Most of the pictures actually from me from this time frame, from literally probably 2005 or before, back in the Midwest Avenue days, all the way up to like 2009. Every picture of me was probably taken by a great friend of mine at the time. And I mean, I still consider her a great friend. I don't see her hardly ever anymore. But Shannon Steele. So big shout out to Shannon Steele for she would go on. We talk about her in this episode, where she was a very integral part to my social media presence. She really helped out at the time, like with the MySpace and the YouTube presence and whatnot. So I really appreciate her a lot. And she's got a podcast of her own where they talk about some games and things like that. And maybe we'll get her on this podcast and we'll talk to her about like what in the heck she's been up to. Give us an excuse to visit. So Shannon, if you're listening to this, let me know if you're interested. I think it'd be a fun time. So after Abastar Line kind of faded out, I continued putting on shows at the local YMCA building in Root House. And just to kind of summarize what the YMCA building was in Root House, it's no longer there, but it was basically a Morton building. It's not like the YMCAs you see in the bigger cities with like the swimming pools, basketball courts, and all the rock climbing and all that good stuff. This YMCA, basically, you walked in the front door, there's a little desk there, then an open room where they had a lot of workout classes, stepping classes, and they had some weights in there, like free weights. Then the second room you walked into that was separated by a sliding wall, basically a sliding door, but it went the whole length of the building. Behind that was like a little kitchen and some tables, like where you could have like little family events and different things. Then the third room, straight on back, was the full-on gym. Had the bench press and the whole nine back there. So it's pretty cool little building. It was great. I mean, for a town of 3,000 people, what more could you ask for, you know? So yeah, we put on a lot of shows there. I connected to a lot of people, bands through MySpace at the time, which really was the place to be. This, like, Facebook was not like it is these days, and there was no Instagram, Snapchat, none of that good stuff. MySpace was where the party was. I still miss it sometimes. I love the functionality of it. It seemed to, I don't know, I really liked it a lot. A lot of people I talked to still think back to those days. And I still continued playing shows at the Dugatti coffee shop in Jacksonville, Illinois, that is now known as the Three-Legged Dog. So if you guys are up in Jacksonville, you guys can swing through there and check out the Three-Legged Dog. But I remember my first show moving back that was prior to like the Abastar Line days. I played my first like real like acoustic solo show that kind of started the bug for me to pursue something solo wise as opposed to doing the rock band stuff. Was playing a show at Mugshots Coffee Shop in Quincy, Illinois. And Quincy was always great to me. I made a lot of good connections there and met a lot of great people. And like I said, I'd book local acts at the YMCA in Root House, Illinois, over MySpace and whatnot. And I decided that I needed to really push for this solo thing, since I didn't have a band at the time and couldn't really... my focus was really going on to my solo stuff. So I decided I was going to record an album. Didn't have the money to go into a big studio, so I decided that I was going to learn how to master... wouldn't say master, but learn how to record myself in multi-track recording sessions. So I downloaded this program called Cool Edit Pro, which is now known as Adobe Audition. And I learned how to record multi-track recording sessions there in that program through trial and fire, and let me tell you. And a multi-track session, just to let you guys know, is basically like I would record, like, say, the rhythm guitar part, come back in, record the lead vocal, come back again on the third track and record the lead guitar parts or other little guitar parts, and then background vocals after that. You could layer. There was like, I don't know, I never used all the tracks. There was like 64 or something like that. But yeah, you could basically record a whole song and play all the parts yourself. So it's pretty cool. A lot of people still do that today. So yeah, that's what I did. And when I had the 10 songs picked out for my first album. I was like, what am I going to call this? Am I going to name it after one of the songs? And just to state at this point, this is like the beginning of what is known as the SJP Days. Scott Joseph Ferris, that's Phares, which is my real last name, my birth name. Scott Wyatt is the stage name. And like I said a couple episodes back, we'll get into how the stage name came to be and what that process it was. It was a really integral part in my career, so to say. And I think you guys would find that process really interesting. So I decided I was going to name this album Playing with Monkeys, which was the silliest name. And I think I named it that because I thought it was funny and people would get a kick out of it. It'd be an eye catcher. And my buddy Justin Icety made like some artwork of it. I remember I had me in the middle, then two monkeys like with sunglasses and suits looking off to the right and left to the side of me. It was pretty hilarious. And I wish I could find that. Maybe, Justin, if you're listening to this and you got that, shoot it over to me. I'd be surprised if you did, because this has been a while back, probably many computers and hard drives ago. But I recorded this album in a spare bedroom in my grandparents' house, which is now used as my grandpa's little man cave. But that room was very integral to my music career. I spent a lot of time playing music in there. Basically became a hermit my junior year in high school, and just sitting there and learned how to, just worked on songwriting and recording. So, and yeah, that's basically where the magic happened, so to say. And at this time, like I said, MySpace was like where the party was. And so I uploaded, I think at this time we could upload like 2 or 3 tracks to your MySpace music page, and it was in no time because of all the great support we had for the local area people coming to the shows and whatnot. I was at this time is when I really saw the effect of the friendly support I got from all the good people in the area. I remember waking up my first day and having over 100 MySpace plays on my songs, and I was like, man, this is wild. But I was averaging after that like 50 to 100 plays a day, which blew my mind. And at this point was when I got really introduced to another side of the music business. I was offered a clothing sponsorship, which I obviously agreed to. It was a very simple deal. When I say clothing sponsorship, that can mean a lot of things, but basically I'll tell you about it. It was with a company called Steez Clothing, S-T-E-Z, S-T, 2 E's and a Z, Steez Clothing, and it's still around today. Basically the deal was they would help promote my music through their brand as long as I wore their t-shirts, and it was for a year, and I did that, so it's pretty cool. And let's see here. Oh yeah, speaking of when I had the opening of the show, and I talked about my friend Shannon Steele, and she was a Hooper. Man, that is a huge supporter mixed together, a Hooper. And I'm leaving this in there. This episode is not getting chopped up and edited. I wouldn't leave that in there. A Hooper supporter, a super huge supporter, or a huge super supporter. There we go. Oh boy, my goodness. But like I said, she took like all the pictures and videos that you will see from this time, basically. And she used her video camera, I remember, she came up with this idea to put on what's called a secret show, which is what we branded it as. And she invited different people from the local area that were very frequent to coming out to the local shows. And I played an acoustic show in the living room of her parents' house, and everybody just all kind of sitting around. And literally, like, for each song, everybody was super quiet and listened and had a good time. And it was at that moment that after that night, I remember going home and thinking, I'm like, man, I think I really got something here. I just feeling the support and the fun times that we had during that night. It was one of the things that just kind of gives you that extra push to keep going, if that makes sense, to pursue the music thing long term, which is all I really ever wanted to do. So yeah, thank you to everybody that was there. If you are listening to this, I know some of you guys do still. And some people ask me about the SJP Days, which is probably one of the most memorable parts of what I've done so far. And but yeah, I appreciate all you guys so much. You guys did a lot for me as a young kid just trying to figure out what the heck's going on in this world, So along with putting shows on the local YMCA, I was still playing shows in Jacksonville, Illinois, and Springfield, Illinois, as well as Quincy. I also put on a lot of shows in my hometown, Whitehall, which was 3 miles from Root House. Basically the same thing. We share a high school together, but in Whitehall there was this building called the Seton Hall, and which is owned by a church in my hometown. It's still there, and events still get put on there. And it was at that point that I decided that I was going to go all in on MySpace, and then MySpace was huge at the time, so I would go on to record a few more albums in my grandparents' spare bedroom, which I'll be talking about in the next episode. So I'm gonna this episode's gonna come to a fade right now. Now I'm gonna drop you some songs right after I get done yapping my gums here. And you're going to hear some of the very first recordings I did in my grandparents' spare bedroom on the Cool Edit Pro machine, I tell you what. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Here's some songs from the Playing with Monkeys album.
We're gonna laugh together, we're gonna cry together. Call you in the morning to see how you are doing, because I care. I wanna hold your hand while we're walking along, no matter where we are. Sure, we'll disagree on things, but we'll work it out together. Move your hands right here when it's just right. I can see it burning in your eyes. Feels just right. Is this what you wanted to hear? Is this what you wanted to hear? Is this what you wanted to hear? When you're sick and tired, I'll be there to watch over, to kiss you on the eye. Subtle dreaming, and when you awake I'll still be there, running my hands through your hair. When you're lost and lonely, there's no need to worry, I'll be right there. Back to when all I knew was your name, where you're going and the way you came. But now I know you, and when you're gone, 'cause things just aren't the same. They're just not the same. I didn't want to push you away, you were always meant to stay. I didn't want to push you away, you were always meant to stay. It's such a sweet thing to be with you tonight, and I can barely inside. When your eyes are gazing off into space. Well, you can come back when you want. Well, you can come back when. High hopes to the high ones when the damage is done. And in this mountain it shall be set in the day. One that shall bring upon Jerusalem, beholding everyone's mention of the 5 cities in Egypt. I see aeroplanes, soaring skies, in constellations, change the sky.
Leaving behind this legend that we bring. What's the message to the meaning to this legend that we bring?
When you're running, so open your gates, put your guards up. It's hard to tell what is coming back. So open your gates, put your guards up. It's hard to tell what is coming back. Too many words to say. Emotional stress in all this is just a downward spiral mess. I can't get out of this tangled web. Sorting in and digging out to the things you got across, and counting all the single things that I lost. So when it all comes back to haunt me, I'll be ready. And did you think that you could get to me? And did you think that you could trust in this? So when it all comes back to haunt me, I'll be ready. And tell yourself you know you want to get all the things that you deserve. And I heard all the things that's been said, and they are all true. And tell yourself I know I will, and I will tell all the stories that you want to hear, and they are all true. This is a situation to where I wanna be, and I know I can deal until I get there. But when I get there, call up the citizens. What did you hear the news? Well, just picture a dream come true. That's what I find in you. Well, that's what I found. And no matter how long